What is up, enthusiasts? It is Cedar Flags here, and welcome back to another one of my videos. Today I'm going to be doing part 3 of a very popular series on my channel, and I will be talking about the best attractions in the world that were never built. These are attractions that were proposed and planned, but right before building or during the process of building, something came up, and the whole plan was cancelled altogether for one reason or another. We are going to get into that today and talk about even more attractions that never saw the light of day. Now, if you haven't seen parts 1 or 2, I would recommend you see these after these or before if you want. They're not necessary to watch before or after, but anyway, let's get right into the third installment of the best attractions never built. So for our first never built project, we are going to go to my personal home park, Kennywood, in West Mifflin, Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh. This little family-friendly park offers a lot of family classic thrills, along with massive steel giants such as Skyrocket, Phantom's Revenge, and Steel Curtain. These rides provide such a thrill, and throughout the mid-2000s, the park was expanding more than ever. There were so many plans throughout this time, but one of the biggest was an indoor water park. This was proposed by the park in 2006, and they announced that there would be a massive indoor water park resort with hotel rooms and, of course, water slides. They bought the former Kmart land across the street from the park and planned the indoor water park resort over there. If you don't know where that is, it is a few feet away from the park, and it would be a great walking distance from that location. To add on to that and add more of a resort feel, Kennywood was also going to add a small transportation system similar to a monorail in between the water park and the park. Though this never happened due to a few reasons. The first main reason is that Palace Entertainment bought Kennywood the following year, and those plans were scrapped immediately. Another reason is that one of the reasons they were going to build the indoor water park in the first place is because they were building a major new highway that was going to cross right at Kennywood. But the plans for the major highway system were cancelled, which brought less traffic to the park, decreasing the interest of this massive investment. This would have been great business for the park, and it really sucks that these plans were eventually scrapped. This would allow a year-round profit, so even in the off-season they would still be making money with the year-round water park resort. For our next never built attraction, we are going to go to Alton Towers in the United Kingdom. This is one of my biggest bucket list parks for many reasons, and we have talked about this park in this series before with the Cross Valley wooden coaster. But did you know that's just the tip of the iceberg for cancelled projects at this park? From a very elite status coaster to a very problematic one, in the early 90s, they were approaching plans for Secret Weapon 1. The first of many great installments that would shape the park to the way it is today. And their Secret Weapon 1? Well, they were planning a major new coaster built by Aerodynamics, and they were planning a brand new concept developed by them called the Pipeline Coaster. This was a very compact coaster layout that had you sitting in between the rails of the track. It was designed to be extremely compact and fit through very tight layouts and transitions. And, well, this was going to be the first major ride at the Secret Weapon project. Anyway, this ride was going to be themed to a military base, and the length of this ride was going to be pretty short, under 1,000 feet. But after seeing that this layout would be a little problematic for the park, they scrapped it altogether and planned something else for that same plot of land. They looked at Swiss manufacturer B&M and decided that they would want to take on a concept with the B&M invert. And that today is now known as Nemesis, undoubtedly a much better coaster than what that Aero Pipeline would have become. The Secret Weapon project, on the other hand, grew and grew some more. All of the recent roller coasters are a part of this Secret Weapon project, including Oblivion, the Smiler, Galactica formerly known as Air, and of course the brand new Wicker Man GCI. This park is thriving to this day, and realistically, I don't think an Aero Pipeline coaster would have gotten that much positive reception by fans, or much longevity in the meantime. Anyway, let's go on to the next spot. Up next, we are going to go to Giaga Lake, the park that has been closed for over 10 years at this point. This park has a very interesting story behind it, especially in the 2000s era, but today we aren't going to talk about how this park closed. We are going to talk about a coaster that was going to be here, but unfortunately did not pass plans. So basically, Giaga Lake was rapidly expanding in the early 2000s. This is when they were under the ownership of Six Flags, and as Six Flags kept expanding, they added a bunch. A CCI Woody, a B&M Floorless, a Zero Tivoli, an Intamin Impulse Coaster, and much, much more. This park was expanding more than ever, and it truly was becoming a world-class park, and they had more plans up their sleeve. In the second year of officially being Six Flags Ohio, they were going to announce a brand new hypercoaster. It was proposed in 2001 as Six Flags was growing the park, and they were planning to add another coaster in 2002. This was going to be over 200 feet tall in the marine life section of the park and be built by an unknown manufacturer. When it comes to what was being built around that time and the location of coasters nearby like Phantom's Revenge, I would assume that this coaster was going to be built by Intamin. It wouldn't be like anything else in the area. They can make it different enough from Millennium Force, so I could easily see this being something like an Intamin Mega Coaster, like Superman the Ride or Superman Ride of Steel or Ride of Steel. So this would be in the marine life area, and that is one of the reasons why this never came to be. It was cancelled due to zoning laws in the local area, saying that you could not build over 35 feet near animal enclosures. And the park was very landlocked at that point, and they didn't want to expand into the territories that they haven't expanded into yet, so they wanted to build it by the marine life section of the park. Unfortunately, they couldn't do that, and plans were quickly scrapped. So my question is, would this have saved the park? This was a major attraction, so the real question is, if this ride was added and got enough attention, would it still be here today? Let me know down in the comments if you think so. Up next, we go down south to Nashville, Tennessee. We are going to be talking about the one and only Ed Hart, who has a great portfolio of amusement parks and roller coasters up his sleeve. He's responsible for Magic Springs expansion, as well as Kentucky Kingdom being saved in the early 2010s. He is a truly remarkable park owner, but he has had a few valleys in his journey of hills. So we are going to be talking about his Thrillopolis project. In the early 2000s, he was the current owner of Magic Springs and just got done owning Kentucky Kingdom as Six Flags recently purchased it. He was interested in developing a brand new park from the ground up in the middle of downtown Nashville, Tennessee. This was going to be by the river and provide 82 acres of high-speed thrills. This was such an ambitious project, it could have been too ambitious. This project was so insane to the city council that they actually made fun of the idea and publicly made fun of Ed Hart. This idea got such backlash that it was shot down quickly. But could you imagine an amusement park, a very own amusement park owned by Ed Hart, in the heart of Nashville, Tennessee? I think it would have been a very good concept, but according to everyone else, they all disagreed. For our final spot, we have a very interesting roller coaster story that I do not hear anyone talk about. This is Starliner at Pier Park in Florida. This story has a lot of hills to it, so get ready for this. This project was proposed in 2015. So, Pier Park is located in the panhandle of Florida, and it opened up in 2010. Weirdly enough, 3 years later, they found a bigger plot of land to relocate to in 2012, so they relocated the entire park to a separate location in 2013. They opened up a new spinner, as well as planned a brand new wooden roller coaster. They decided to name it after an old PTC that was in the area. This was a defunct PTC that many people loved, but the new version was going to be made by the one and only GCI. This was going to be a small, compact GCI layout, very similar to something like White Lightning at Fun Spot Orlando, and was going to have a very simple out and back layout. The project looked promising, and GCI even came out with its own promotional video of Starliner, and it looked like a very promising layout that was going to come to fruition. But eventually, after a few years of problems, the whole project as well as the park itself was cancelled and shut down respectively. The park was evicted from the land because it didn't pay its local taxes. This was a big controversy at the time, and obviously The park shutting down would cancel the coaster's plans altogether, as they 1. Didn't have the land anymore, and 2. Didn't have the money to back it up. So that is my third part of this series. I absolutely love doing this series, and if you want a part 4, I have many other projects to go through, including another one at Cedar Point. I absolutely love this project, so let me know down in the comments below what you thought about this video, and out of these concepts, which one you wanted to see come into fruition. Personally, I would want to see the Thrillopolis come into fruition. This looked like a very promising park, and would look like a very good attraction. But let's be honest, from a business perspective and from the city council's perspective, this was not going to happen. Anyway, this is Cedar Flags, and I will see you all later.